Can we get an autograph?
Young Titans platform where young professionals and entrepreneurs join after their college graduation or when they are in the workforce to propel their career, get inspired, and become a part of thriving community. If you're not part of it, you are missing out. Please share this live or recording to your friends, family, and others. Like our page, subscribe our channel. YTP fills in the gap from what you know and what you need to know for you to succeed. In short, YTP fills the gap between you and the leadership. There are schools, colleges, and departments to start career. On the other hand, we have leadership training and many technical trainings in each corporation for their workforce. But what is out there for new graduates to excel, find their best career, or once they start their career, where to grow, how to grow? There is nothing existing today to fill in that specific gap. I have seen plenty of people in that subcategory who are indecisive or of their career path or very much confused. Now is the introduction for the organizer and organizers and the speakers. I am Sheikh Rahman, an engineer by background and liked leadership, liked to work with people, excuse me, and slowly drawn to the people who value people and wanted to learn how they do that. My inspiration are few people that are into that. Some of them are in this point here with us, and my family, my daughter, my sister, my wife, from whom I learned a lot of leadership basics. I like to hang out with people and I like to share or teach what I know. One reason behind that is I know teachers learn the most. Okay. Next, I will do a short introduction of the people who will introduce themselves. Firstly, Kamrul just recently featured in large circulation of a newspaper in Bangladesh as the founder of CKH Network, very similar to YTP Vision for Youth of Bangladesh. Raj, one of the most renowned and knowledgeable person in finance industry and personal finance, a wealth coach, CFO of nonprofits, and many more. His leadership skills are sky-touching. Ian Roberts, he spoke in YTP last week on intentional leadership. Leaders are servers. Ian is a live proof of that. And Ron and Marty are retired U.S. Air Force and CIA officers. Now they are at their 52 years of their marriage and are relationship coaches. They serve valuables to others through their Cooper Culture organizations. And Dr. Halida, she's the faculty of International Health Department at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health here in Maryland, where I am in also. But I will describe her later. She's going to be joining shortly, I believe. And so I'm going to skip her introduction at this moment, but I'm going to let she's the advisor, by the way, for us. But before that, let me just stop for a second and see if you can please introduce yourself. Kamrul, I started with your name. Why don't we start with you, please?
Thank you. I'm here actually to learn from all this genius, magnets, diamonds, and stunning and marvelous human being. And tonight, especially the Art Timur, I think Ian Roberts last week and today, even though I have other programs, but I will watch her, and that's why I'm here. So nothing is more important than watching and learning from Arthi. So that's what I am today. I don't have anything to say. That's it.
Sure, sure. No, that's good. Ron.
Thank you for the opportunity to participate with each one of you. We help organizations, but more so you, establish a very enjoyable and productive work environment. And we can learn from everybody this morning, today on this broadcast, but we're here to help you. And so, whatever we can do to help advance you is exactly what we're about. So, thank you for this opportunity.
All right. Jan, if you want to introduce yourself,
Better,
please.
yeah, better mute myself then. Well, it's again, it's just a privilege to be among this amazing group of people from all corners of the world, really, and to be able to listen to my partner in Key Leadership Institute and the owner of Celebrating Humanity International, and as an amazing speaker, Artie Moore today is for me just a privilege every time. But to be also to gain knowledge from everybody else around here in the questions, and I hope that people who are watching this, they will like and share this as well with their friends, because it's all about young titans in this platform and young professionals. And I already know, I know before we even started what Artie's going to say. You need to hear, and if you have friends, they need to hear it too. So invite them. There is still time. If they can't watch it live, share it with them afterwards, because this is going to be full of gold nuggets. I mean, I've heard Artie talk many times, and I learn from her every time. I agree with my friend and brother Kamrul on this. We're here to learn, and I just look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Raj.
Well, welcome to Young Titans, and this is a wonderful, wonderful platform that is here for you. Main purpose is to serve you, and from all the experiences which we all had in our life through years, we are sharing these things with you. And I'm just glad to be a part of it. Specifically today with Aarti, I mean, I'm just looking forward to it, and you should all be. Another thing is, last week Jan was there, and what he spoke about was incredible. If you haven't listened to the past shows, they're all online. So go and listen to them. Each and every one of our speakers is giving their best to you. So my thing is, go ahead without wasting any time. All I'll say is I'm just pumped up and ready. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. And I see Dr. Halida is also here. Why don't we hear a little from her also, introduction or anything about YTP?
Thank you very much. Hi, all here and all the listeners, those who have joined. I think this is a great platform, and this is a great opportunity for the young people, for the new career people or the early career people, and also mid-career people to listen to the experts. And I'm sure I'm looking forward to Aarti's talk today. I have heard great things about Aarti. And previously, I think Jan and Raj and Ron, they have been excellent speaker. I have learned a lot. There are many things to learn, how you speak, what you speak, the content, the relevance to your own life. And I would encourage everyone to listen to this, and also ask your friends to come and listen. If you cannot join the live, but you can always listen to the at a later time. But there is much to learn, and I would encourage everyone to come. This is my great opportunity also. I'm part of it, and I would love to be learning more. It's a continuous process to learn. Thank you very much. Thanks, Zilur, for inviting me here. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Absolutely, Dr. Halida. I mean, it's an honor to have you as our advisor, mentor for this platform. At the same time, we heard from you. But if I want to describe your background, her background, and her professional achievements and everything, then we're going to be in front of this live for some time. So I'm going to skip that part. That a note that she was the winner for United Nations populations in 2006, and now she is here with us and guide us.
Thank you.
And now, speaker Aarti Moore. Aarti, out of many creativity and establishment and membership and contributors of various global organizations. She's the founder of KI Leadership Institute Private Limited, value-based leadership. This institute is serving a massive client base around the world in South Africa and in the US and other countries, disrupting leadership through innovative thinking. This institute powerfully impacts teams globally in changing business and leadership culture using the exclusive, intentional, compulsive evolutionary methodologies. In my observation, we all listen to big speakers, leaders, and I see that when she speaks, all those big leaders are listening. I am fortunate to have a business collaborators and partner. I am personally thankful to this lady, an awesome mother of 2 thriving teenagers, Arthi Moore, for her friendship. Fasten your seatbelts, and I present to you Arthi Moore.
Perfect. Thank you. Namaste. Assalamu Alikum. Good evening. And hello wherever you are. I think it's good. It's an absolute privilege to be on this platform. And before I start, I want to say thank you, Sheikh, for having the vision of creating something that adds amazing value to young people. I think what's impressive about it is that it is structured, it is focused, and everybody knows what they can expect, and that is an incredible way to be guided, mentored, and supported on a platform that brings incredible people. It takes people like Raj and Ron and Jan and Ms. Halida, Dr. Halida, contributing a lot of their experience to actually help everybody to grow. And I'm grateful for that because over the last few weeks, it's been absolutely incredible. And not forgetting awesome Kamrul Bai. So, listening to all of them, I have realized in life when I spoke about becoming compassionate leader of influence, the brilliant part about being compassionate is our ability to feel. And with that feeling, we need to understand what we need to do with that. And I found that being able to just be human and to understand human beings and where they're coming from is one of the key aspects of being able to build and guide and support everybody else. So when I thought about compassion leader of influence for this platform, I thought about what is the simplest way to actually help people to embody this. I was not talking to boards of directors and management teams for the title compassion leader of influence. I'm talking to individuals. So regardless of whether you are a young person or you're already qualified or you're one of these impressive people who've got many accolades, I find that being compassionate is a human thing. It's a human behavioral thing, something that a lot of people have forgotten about, because we're all living in fear and uncertainty. We're living in hope and we're living in growth. The challenge, though, is that sometimes we miss our fellow human beings. And when we are in tune so much with all of the external factors of things that's happening around us, we forget about our personal growth. And so when I look at a compassionate leader of influence, I see a person who seeks their own development before they can add value to somebody else. And the things that stand out for me when it comes to compassion is, what am I feeling right now? How do I see myself? Where do I see myself? And who do I need to surround myself with in order for me to grow on this journey? And that actually opened up a lot of questions. You see, when you want to be a person of influence, regardless of whether you're a compassionate person of influence, whether you're a relational leader, or you're a title leader, or you're a young titan. And what that means is that you're embarking on a journey of self-discovery and you want to impact this world. You want to create significance with who you are. You want to stand out in a world that is now blending in. When you look at social media platforms and our globe, the global industry, the global community is opened up to everybody. Now you find that everybody is specializing in similar things. So what makes you stand out as a young titan? The simplicity of knowing who you are. You see, when you know who you are, your truth stands before anything else. Your presence is what attracts people to you. The power of who you are as a human being is what actually intentionally interacts with people before they even speak to you. You see, your energy and who you are actually helps you to grow your sphere of influence. So that means you're attracting the people that you deserve based on how much you build yourself, how much you build into yourself. Because in order to grow other people, you need to grow who you are. And when we look at that, we realize that we judge ourselves too harshly sometimes. We actually look at our circumstances and we allow that to define who we are. And we forget to actually look deeper and bigger and higher and to all of the greatness that surrounds us and understand that there are platforms available that's helping to guide us only if we make the choice and the decision that we're worth it. So you see, self-worth plays a massive role in becoming a compassionate leader of influence. Because if you don't feel worthy, if you don't feel you're good enough, that actually leads to the next question. Ask yourself, what do I need to do to grow my confidence? How do I approach people? When I walk into the room, what do people see? Is it my presence or is it me closing up with all of the fear and this nervousness? You see, in order to
Yeah,
walk
I
into a
don't mean
room
to
with
interrupt you.
presence, we realize.
Yeah, I just wanted to not interrupt you. I think the way you were saying that it's unbelievable. It's already inspiring. I can say that's a fired up talk. I'm sure a lot of young titans are actually inspired already. But I just want to remind the young entrepreneurs or the young titans or the professionals who are watching it now or later, just type in your questions live. In fact, if you have any question for Arti, this is probably the right time to ask to get your answer at that time when everything is boiling. And of course, you can ask to these questions to any of the collaborators, any of the co-hosts that we have today in the platform as well. So please go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you, but I thought this is important. Your comments, your questions right now in the live chat. Thank you.
No, thank you for that. I think I even forgot to say to you, please put your questions in there, even on Facebook or whichever channel you're on, because I would love to actually add value to you. So some of the areas that I was talking about a compassionate person, when you walk into a room and if you feel nervous and you feel shy and you're going into an environment where you want to stand out, you want to be the person who's chosen, you want to be the person that a company will say, you know what, I see potential in you. I feel that you would be the best fit for our company. The challenge, though, sometimes is that if you don't see potential in you, that is exactly what comes across when you go into an interview, when you go into any venture where you want to succeed. You see, intention plays a massive role. If you set your intention to be successful and all you can see is you want a lot of money in your bank account, you want the big car, you want the fancy house, you want the beautiful husband or wife, and everything looks superb. The challenge, though, is that even though you will achieve that, and that is material growth. And I'm not saying don't look for that. I'm saying, who are you and what character do you embody in terms of being the person that grows and helps other people to grow and you help other people to develop along the way? While you're focusing on the materialistic stuff and you want to develop and grow and those beautiful visions, those when you acquire, once you acquire that, what is the substance that defines you as a human being? What will people see? You see, when you want to leave a mark on this world, are you leaving the mark of somebody who is not remembered? Or you're remembered for how you touch people's lives? Or you're remembered not for being a person who always serves all the time, but a person who is of service to people? So there's a massive difference because some people, when they serve all the time, sometimes fall in the trap of being people pleasers who get used all the time. And see, when you get to that point, when you're a people pleaser and you're serving and you're serving and you're serving, and then you cannot understand why you do not grow, why nobody acknowledges you, why nobody will actually intentionally give you a raise, give you a bonus, or even give you a promotion. So if you're feeling frustrated where you're at, understand that you will receive the rewards in life for exactly what you deserve and exactly what you attract. So I would ask you the question, when is the last time you actually wrote down what are the brilliant attributes that make you stand out as a human being? And I'm not talking about the fancy stuff. I'm talking about the simple stuff. I'm talking about the human stuff, the things that talk to your compassion as a human being. Are you kind and gentle with people? Are you thoughtful? Are you the type of person that always greets people when you see them? Do you make them feel like they're seen as human beings? Do you interact with them to the point where they feel absolutely thrilled to have been in your presence and that few moments they spent with you was worth their time? You see, the generosity of your heart actually speaks a lot into who you are as a human being. And when we talk about compassion, we forget that it's not just a lovely emotional word. It is the actual being of who you are as a person. It exudes in the way you speak and the way you speak into people. So it does not matter what your age is. You can be a person of influence with the people around you, with young people, with tiny people. You can prevent bullying in any environment because you spoke up. You see, compassion is not talking about you roll over and die and you just say yes to everybody. It's not about just being complacent. It's not about just showing respect to every single person, regardless of how they treat you. You see, if somebody treats you badly, that is your cue to stand up for yourself because you're being compassionate to who you are. You see, being kind to yourself builds your spirit. It builds your humanity. It builds your heart so that you can trust people more. You see, when you stand up for yourself, it talks to your clarity in your communication, your ability to actually speak your truth and know who you are. Because when you know who you are, nobody can touch you and nobody can stand in your way. And if you've got that kind of mentality and you develop that, you realize there's no stumbling blocks. There are only challenges. And if you change the perspective and there's only challenges, with every challenge comes solutions. You see, there's no such thing as a challenge that is thrown your way that cannot be resolved. If you cannot resolve it, the brilliance of it is that there are other people who can resolve it with you. Which then brings me to the next part. You see, a compassionate leader of influence, and I'm talking about influence in your own life. A compassionate person of influence influences their own lives before they can touch the lives of others. And so when I think about it, if you want to be somebody who is looked up to and who guides and supports other people, you would need to be inclusive. How do you include other people? And that's when a lot of people talk about vulnerability and they say you need to be vulnerable. I get that. I understand that. But they do not mean that you've got to cry in the corner for every single thing. It doesn't mean that you've got to have crocodile tears for every person that falls down. They're talking about vulnerability in opening up about where you're at in your life. You see, you do not have to walk this journey alone. The challenge that a lot of people have is that they've become so insular. They've forgotten that there's an entire world open to them. You may be in a position as a young person right now where you may not have the best family life. You may not have the things that you want, the things that you need, the infrastructure. You may not have all of the stuff you need in terms of your electronics. You may not have a vehicle. You could be getting up early in the morning and not even having a meal to eat. And see, nobody even knows that because you're so strong for the world that they don't see the reality of your pain and your suffering. You see, a compassionate leader of influence understands that suffering is part of humanity, but it does not have to be your reality. It doesn't have to be your reality. You see, if you understand that pain and suffering is part of the human experience, you will also realize that so is joy, so is thoughtfulness, so is happiness, so is kindness, so is the ability to grow and to develop and to do more. So where there are challenges, there's solutions. Where there is pain, there is love. And so when I look at this, if you are in the point in your life still trying to decide, where do I go to? How do I make a decision? How do I make these life-changing decisions? Stop thinking so hard. Because at the end of the day, when you think some more, and then you overthink things. And when you start to overthink a whole lot of areas in your life, you overwhelm yourself. And you see, in order to get clarity in your life, you need to stop long enough to do some introspection and look at where am I heading and why am I heading in that direction. If you're looking at purpose and vision, a lot of people will talk to you about you've got to have a purpose and you've got to have a passion and you must chase your passion and you'll find your purpose and then you must have this big massive vision. Okay, stop. Just take a deep breath. Because if you don't know how to do that, you overwhelm yourself some more. But if you actually looked at your journey right now and all of the brilliance of who you are, look at the characteristics that you embody. Are you a gentle person? Are you caring? Are you the type of person that listens intently? Do you make people feel welcome? Do you communicate with thoughtfulness? You see, those are brilliant attributes and can talk into a passion that you can then grow. You see, communication is not limited to your ability to talk. It could be on a piece of paper. It could be with publishing things. It could be in your blog. It could be in the way that you send out motivational sayings to people. It could be you talking to somebody. You could be counseling somebody. You could be the type of person that just stops by a normal person who's just feeling really bad that you've never met or interacted with, a stranger. You give them a kind word, and in that moment, you change somebody's life. You see, those are the types of things you talk about of being on purpose. Is when you look at your characteristics as a human being and you use that intentionally on a daily basis. So while you're trying to find this beautiful, amazing sentence that describes your purpose, sometimes we miss the point and we forget. You're already living every day on purpose if you're being intentional with how you want to live your life, how you want to impact people on a daily basis. And you see, the more you do that, the more you grow in your confidence, because people will start becoming attracted to you and your energy and the way you make them feel. And then suddenly you realize, whoa, you know what? I don't have to have this incredible sentence that describes me. And then I try to put all of these incredible marketing, sales, and all of these materials to now go and market this passion of mine. No, you don't have to go that far. What you need to do is work out first and have clarity for who you are. You see, because that builds resilience for you. When you've got clarity, it builds resilience. And there are a few things that we need to look at when it comes to compassion. And that is, a compassionate person comprehends, connects, understands, and accepts people for who they are and where they are at in their journey. You see, and then they entice them to grow to the next levels of excellence in their personal and business lives. And they do this by adding value to people in every way, to guide and support and share expertise. And when I look at that, I think, caring for people is the key. Caring for one another is the key. And a lot of people are looking for that. People are looking to be honored, valued, and respected as human beings. And if we can just respect people in the way they wish to be respected, we become compassionate in the way we adjust our communication and the way we adjust our ability to communicate with people. I know that there's a lot of injustices in the world right now. There's a lot of pain and a lot of hurt, and there's a lot of issues where men and women are fighting for control with each other and over each other. We've got people who are demeaning each other based on the color of their skin. There are people who are hurting each other in the most horriblest ways possible. And I feel that the missing link here that can actually change the dialogue so powerfully is compassion. Because when we are compassionate towards other people, we realize that everybody feels, everybody hurts, everybody bleeds, everybody loves, everybody cries. And if we can understand it from that point of view, then why not understand the next person's journey as somebody who is also looking for guidance and support? And you talk into them and you ask, what can I do to help you? How can I serve you and be of value to you? And when you add value in that way, you're being a lot more intentional. And so when I look at self-development, I realize even with when I was talking about changing the perspective, if we want to use compassion to change the dialogue, a lot of people will talk into this and they'll say, well, let's go and run a diversity and inclusion program. Let's have team building. Let's have communication exercises. And I will always question, why do you need that? If we were talking to each other and with respect and compassion for the human being, why would we need to have team building to bring us closer together? And the reason is because we lack trust. So how do we build trust? How do we trust ourselves first before we trust other people? See, I've realized in relationships, a lot of relationships will fail. And that is just based on somebody gives their word and never follows through. Somebody builds trust and then takes it away from you. And it is a very human fear to be let down, to feel rejection, to feel abandoned. And those are very real emotions that every single person feels. And so when you walk into an organization and you are there to apply for a job, so it's not about how brilliantly you prepared just with the questions that you're able to answer and the suit or the beautiful, amazing outfit that you put together for that. You see, what's walking in there is how trustworthy are you, and do you trust the people that you're going to interact with? How much do you value yourself, and do the values of the organization you go to actually connect at the same level as your values? Are you on the same level, same platform, same understanding? You see, because no matter what you do in life, if you're not continuously building your own values, your value system, and your belief and understanding of yourself, sometimes you miss the point. And then you go into an organization and you'll give half of what you should be giving. And you become one of those unproductive people, the type of person that only wants to wait until the end of the month to receive the paycheck. And then you cannot understand why you do not grow in life. You see, life is simple. You will always get what you give. You will always receive what you share. And when you realize that, you realize there's a balance. You see, you need to give your 120%, 150%, 200% to everybody every day, to yourself first, and then to everybody around you, regardless of where you're at and what people do to you, and how they treat you, and how they behave. Because their behavior is not a reflection on you, it's a reflection on their character. And one of the things that I have found in life is the very simplicity. Yes, sure.
Yeah, I have a question actually that came. Just wanted to because it's probably the very relevant. That's why I wanted to bring this question to you right away. It says, can compassion, the attribute, be changed, tweaked, or developed? There are people I experience that I cannot make them compassionate about their own responsibilities in their own work. So that's a question came, I don't know, the initials are SB something from the email or some of the chat. But with that, just wanted to let everybody know that please go ahead and put some comments or questions that you have. Or in fact, if you have any other comments or questions about the YTP, what you'd like to see here or here, or if you have any recommended speakers or anything like that, please bring that to us as well. But yeah, that's the question actually for you. Do you need me to?
No, I get that. But, I think it's a very good question. You can't make somebody else feel compassionate. You cannot. You cannot change the people around you to feel compassion. You cannot force your employees or your team members to feel compassion. But what you can do is you can encourage them and entice them to feel compassion. And the way that you do that is in the way you treat them and you set the standard. So when you look at your own behavior and your own actions, how compassionate are you in actually sharing the depth of who you are with people around you? Are you the type of person that guides and supports, or do you expect? You see, when it comes to compassion, it's not something that you can just say to somebody, I want you to develop this overnight because you know what, you lack compassion, because then we're coming from a form of judgment. You cannot expect people to. I'll give you a very, very simple way to understand this. I always use this in my talks. I talk about the glass ceiling effect. And the glass ceiling effect is something that people use as an excuse for why they do not succeed in life. So if you are having challenges with people in your environment, you've got to take a look at what you're doing to actually entice that into your life. You see, what I find as well is that there is a sense of responsibility that people need to look at. And they need to actually understand that when you have people always screaming and reacting towards you, they don't do their best and they're always belittling you or they're doing something. What do you need to do and look within yourself to change, adjust, grow, or develop so that they never do that to you ever again? You're not somebody's doormat anymore. And I found that with the glass ceiling effect, it is very relevant right now to the conversation because people use glass ceiling as the limitation, the thing that prevents them from interacting. the thing that actually stops them from getting what they need, what they deserve, their bonuses, the job that they wanted, and they will walk away and they'll never look at what they could have done differently. And that's responsibility when you ask yourself that question. What they will do is they'll say, it is because of the color of my skin, my age, my religion, my gender. It's because I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too ugly, I'm not beautiful enough. People will look for all the reasons of why. Now, if we had the glass ceiling effect, and I'm talking about men and women suffer from this phenomena, somebody out there created the term glass ceiling. And then people subconsciously embodied it within themselves, and it started to manifest itself in their conscious everyday behavior. And what that is just a sentence. But the reality of it is, if you are using that as your excuse, glass is see-through and it's transparent. It can be shattered. It can be broken. Now, why is that relevant right now? Because the glass ceiling effect talks to what your programming is, what your unconscious biases are, what your beliefs are. It's a reflection on your self-esteem, your self-confidence. It's a reflection on your communication style. It is how you use your personality type as your excuse for why you are just an irritating person. Because I find a lot of people will do that and they'll say, no, it's my personality type. I am this and I'm that. That is why I can't do this. And you must understand it's not my strength. Okay, get lost. Seriously. Stop using everything and their granny as your excuse for why you can't grow in this life. So if you're looking for other people to be compassionate, then right there was your answer. It means that you right now have got the ability to look at where you need to be more compassionate and understanding and less judgmental of other people. And so I know I can be strong sometimes, but I realize that many people need strong because too many people are sensitive and are sucking up to each other. Nobody wants to speak up for fear of reprimand or being ridiculed, because we're living in a world where everybody's sensitive about something. And now here's the brilliance of this. Stop pandering to everybody's sensitivities. Because at the end of the day, that is the very thing that they will use to step on you and use you as their stepping stone to wherever they want to go. You become their stepping stone to success. Because you see, when you become that type of person, you realize that you don't see your self-worth and there's room for development. I always say there's room for improvement for everything. So if you used this, I'm not so good in this area. Okay. Now that you said that sentence, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do to take responsibility for that? Oh, I'm not so good at remembering names. Okay, get over yourself. Go and write down the person's name, and every time you see them, read the paper. You have the ability to read. Read the person's name out to them, and you will remember. Find solutions. Stop wallowing in self-pity and excuses. You see, one of the things that I found in diversity and inclusion that is so powerful, it is give yourself permission that you do not have to like every single person you interact with. Now, that is the most refreshing thing you'll ever get in this lifetime, because we are in a diverse company, country, family, environment. And what I've realized is that we will never, as human beings, like every single person you interact with, because there are some mean people out there. There are racist people, but there's also stunning people and there's awesome people. There are nasty people too. There are people who will intimidate you and will actually do things that's not good and kind to you. Here's the brilliant part and completion to that sentence. Give yourself full permission to not like every single person you interact with. However, your ability to show respect and be respectful is a direct reflection on your character and dignity as a human being. And so when you look at it from that point of view, you realize that the way you interact with people and the way they respond to you is in direct relation to how you are treating other people. It's in direct relation to your behavior and the way that people respond to you. Is if you're coming from the intention of love and care and honor and dignity and value, and you're valuing the human being, they will treat you in the exact same way. when you are the type of person who wants to be of service to people, they will stop taking advantage of you because you serve all the time, and then you get to the point where you resent the giving. And when you get to that point, you realize the reason you resented that giving is because you were never acknowledged and you needed to be respected by being praised for what you did. And people never saw you. And then you feel less, and it impacts your self-esteem and your self-confidence. But here's the thing. You're allowed it. You are allowing people to take advantage of you. You see, compassion begins with you, with your development, with who you are as a human being. Because nobody else can give it to you, and you can't give it to somebody else. You can only show it and embody it in the reality of your everyday interactions, and the power of your words, and the thoughtfulness and the gentleness of how you speak words into people, and how you build people, and how you give life and love into people. You see, it's unconditional. Communication is the key. If you want a beautiful relationship, work at it. And I was thinking about that the other day. You see, relationships and business are very similar. Everything has to be nurtured. You don't just wake up one day and you've got success overnight. We have got people on this platform who've got the most incredible, successful relationships and marriages that are incredible. But they will tell you too, it took work. There would have been good times, there would have been bad times, but the difference is they never gave up on themselves, and they never gave up on the other half. So when you are walking into any business environment, never give up on yourself. Look for self-development and self-growth as an imperative because you deserve it. And then understand, never give up on the people around you. That as much as you do not like or enjoy them, does not mean that you cannot be respectful in the way you interact with them. And you choose to communicate effectively. You stand up for yourself and you stand up with respect. So if you are looking at honoring people, that shows your compassion. And that is what a compassionate leader of influence does. They show it. They make you feel it. And they honor you as a human being. And so with that, I actually think that one of the most brilliant things that you can ever do in life is to realize that at the level of respect, all people are equal. And with that in mind, we can honor people coming from a place of compassion. And we can understand the journey of the human being. And that all of us are walking this earth and we all have a human experience. It is all very different. It's all very unique, but we're all very similar in that. And so from my side, I want to say thank you to Sheikh Rahman. Thank you to our entire platform of amazing people who are here, who've guided and supported me and added value to my life. I grow because of them. I grow because they grow themselves. And because they're growing themselves, I get to learn from them. And because I'm learning from them, I'm able to succeed even more powerfully, and I'm able to fast track my success by listening carefully to what they're doing, what they've done, where they've been, and the power and the brilliance of their journey and how it adds value to me. You see, I am not limited in whether I listen to a man or a woman. I have unlimited potential because I'm listening to men and women. And I will leave one final thought for you, is that as a compassionate leader of influence, you must realize that both men and women add tremendous value from their experiences, from the depth of their knowledge, and because they have different intuitive and strength within them. And then not all men are abusers and not all women are abused. And if we come from that platform together, we can actually help the people who are in trouble and all of the injustices that are in this world. You see, when we collaborate and connect, that takes compassion to another level. So I welcome ladies and gentlemen to unite and collaborate for each other's success, because that is how we will use compassion to change this world and everything that is happening around us. You see, solutions are simple. The hard part is you making the decision and joining us in learning, joining us as we discover, being curious, understanding, knowing that resilience is an innate part of growth, and then choosing you first, and then adding your value to everybody else. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for
Wow,
allowing me.
wonderful. No, this is absolutely stunning. Definitely, this speechless. I do have a question. I know this is open now that for discussion and questions from everybody. From my end, the thing that came into my mind, I want to ask you, Arti. So, where did you have this compassion for yourself and the things and your attributes all the time, or did it grow at certain point, or was there any pivotal change you had in your life sometime, and why, if so?
I was not compassionate at all. I was the biggest bully there was in school. I have an extremely rebellious nature. And I think that when I was in school, there were a lot of incidences that happened. I grew up in an environment where there was a lot of abuse and a lot of alcohol abuse and a lot of issues. And I distinctly remember at one point in school, I was called Hell's Angel. And the reason I was called that was because I would take on any person that bullied anybody. So it did not matter how old people were, I'd beat them up because I hated seeing older guys beating up on younger guys and girls fighting each other. So I'd beat them up and explain to them, this is why you shouldn't do it. And so I did not enjoy people bullying each other, and I didn't understand why. But my grandmother taught me to always forgive and to always, I apologize when I'm wrong. And she taught me um, to be respectful at all times. And sometimes I was not respectful when I was beating up people. And I did not realize that while I was taking on bullies, I was becoming a bully. And so at some point, there was a switch that happened for me. And I realized I cannot change people's lives just because I'm joining them in the very same thing that I'm not enjoying seeing. And so it was a mindset change. And what I did was I looked for different ways to interact with people, and I realized intuition was the key. And so I started to listen carefully to what my whole inner being was saying to me and guiding me because I wasn't listening. So listening to intuitive sides actually allows us to ask questions more, question everything. So when people actually say to me, this is what you must do, I would say, but why? How come? Can you show me why? Can you explain? I would appreciate it if you actually showed me. And then from that, because I started to develop that kind of mindset when I was 18 or 19 years old, actually opened myself up to possibilities and going into rural areas and interacting with people of different cultures and getting to understand them. And it was because of their experiences and being with them, I started to become an activist for abused people, but in the right way. Started to help people to find their voices, and I realized it cannot be done through aggression. We can have kindness, but we need to be more stronger in the approach. And I found that compassion was one of the key areas that helped me to grow into that. And so I started to become more clearer and focused on the direction I wanted to do this. And I could only do that by continuously developing myself. So I went on to many training programs. I listened to many men and women and their stories. And I became more compassionate for where a lot of men were hurting. And I started to ask, why are we looking at the symptoms of abuse? Let's look at the cause, and then we can realign that. And then, and from that part of the journey, I realized that I needed to be more kinder in the way I spoke to people and be less judgmental. And I needed to be less condescending. And I needed to be less in people's face and less aggressive. And it is a learning process. There are sometimes people piss me off and I have to work on it. And I have to look at them very lovingly, but I have to realign a lot of stuff in my head. So it's not like I'm sitting over here perfect. I'm saying it's a daily, everyday thing that there will be moments where you don't want to. But if I'm going to talk about it, I need to do it. I need to be that person for myself, not for everybody else, but for myself. because that's when I stand strong on my integrity. And so for me, that became part of my journey. So yes, you can learn to develop that, but you're not limited to your experiences. That is why I always say your circumstances don't define who you are. Your thoughts do. What you think you deserve and where you feel you're going to head in life is directly related to the decisions you make and the choices you demand for yourself, because that impacts your future. I hope that explains that. I'm still rebellious though.
Wow, that's wonderful, wonderful. Yes, of course, I want my daughter to be strong. At the same time, the things that you learned throughout your time, be respective, be apologetic where you're wrong, and all those things. But I mean, I completely understand where you're coming from. So, but thank you. Anybody has any questions from here?
I don't have a question, but I think I must compliment Arti for excellent presentation. Very nice. I enjoyed thoroughly. I enjoyed every word of it. I enjoy every composition of it and the emotion of it. It's excellent. And while I was listening to you, I was thinking of my time when I was in my first employment. I was a very young professional, I must say. And my first year of life, my first 8 or 9 years of life were caregiving. After that, I became researcher. But the caregiving part was basically to discover me. I discovered myself. And I discovered myself as a compassionate person, and when I was looking at you, the compassion comes along with the respect. It comes with trust as well. And then combinedly, you can influence people as well. So the way, and I mean, when I was caregiver, like I had wives we are taking care of or doing the procedure, and a husband with children are waiting outside in the veranda. So the children will pee, they will have a banana leaves, banana things on the floor, and the boy might sleep and all these things. So as I was walking, and I can see all those things, and I can pick the banana from the floor and carry it myself so that the child does not fall, sleep, and I will put it there. And the people sitting in veranda will look at me, that the senior doctor of this clinic, she picked up herself that banana cup, those things, and kind of cared about the baby so that the baby does not sleep. So this expression of compassion gives you respect. And because you love them and you respect them, you respect the safety of the child, you picked up those things. You did not wait for your sweeper to come and clean. And I think these expressions definitely influence people, definitely display the compassion. And there is a teaching element as well. So your display is also teaching them how you can be compassionate. And I have received return by being compassionate. They will respect you more. They will lean on you more. They will have a different kind of disposition about you. When they go back, they come back again and they say, what happened? Some of my clients' daughter got married, so she will bring her daughter and son-in-law. Say, madam, aapko salam dene aaye hain. That kind of thing. So they will bring them to get the blessings. And you can see the extension. And similarly, in the human behavior, that's with your staff, with your colleagues, those things may not work on the first day, but they will watch you and they will see your level of compassion. And I feel that with some labor and with some persistence and insistence, you can definitely influence some people. I will not say all, but some. So I agree with you that this is excellent. This is, the more we talk about it, the more we feel the need for it and discussion for it, so that we convince people. Sometimes they are never thought about that way. They never get to discuss these things. And these words itself are very powerful words. When you say compassion, if you understand the meaning of compassion, it generates something in you. And those kind of things are very important. I agree. This is excellent. We should do more. Dilur, we should do more of those things. And thank you very much. Thank you. This is great.
Wonderful,
you.
wonderful. Just to let everybody know, this platform is open to everybody. Anybody has any questions, please put that in. And here for our moderators, of course, it's open for all of us.
Well, I'd like to say something. Arti, this was just amazing. Uh, the way you brought together everything for young titans. See, we all talk about at this juncture, at that age where the young titans are developing. Now, we have gone over that time period and we have learned through experience, like what you brought in your experience, and then you changed because you brought in the human element. At that juncture, most of the people don't think of the human element. Most of the times they're thinking of just what the job to do, how to relate, and most of it is like reactor. They react more than anything else than to fully understand the human. And so at many times, many people at this level have the stumbling blocks. Okay, they have the challenges because they do not trust in themselves. So, for a person at that level who is going through this phase, now we have gone through those phases and we have grown, but it took us effort, time, hard learning. What would your advice be? I know you have given enough, but what would your simple advice be if a person doesn't feel that self worth right now? Specifically, given the COVID situation where everybody is feeling a little under, a little down, there is a lot of chaos, there is a lot of uncertainty. Should a person do at this juncture, specifically a young titan, to get themselves over this in this time and
That's a
period?
brilliant question, and I love that because it's very relevant in terms of practicality. So one of the things that I found that really works brilliantly is getting a beautiful, amazing book, and this is the simplicity of it. You walk into a store and you get this a small one, nothing fancy, a small, beautiful book that resonates with you and your energy. And then what you do is you go and sit out in nature. Nobody around you. Just be still, go quiet within yourself and go and write down everything you're grateful for yourself. You want to build your confidence in your self-esteem and your self-worth. Reading a lot of books is brilliant, but what the most easiest and simplest way to do this is to actually write down all of the things that stand out to you about your characteristics. What do you see within yourself that really is awesome? And then when you find that you're battling with certain areas, that is why you look and you start to question yourself. Why do I feel that way? And you write it down. Why do I feel that way? What caused me to start to feel this way about myself? When did I start feeling this way about myself? And then go and find affirmations. So if it's about if it's self-confidence, find affirmations for self-confidence. If it's belief, if it's self-worth, if it is your weight, if it's your success or abundance mentality, if it's your health, you find those affirmations, and then what you do is you read them every single day, but then you start to create something that you use for yourself, because manifesting beautiful energy comes from within. But in order to do that, you first need to find out where are the areas you're absolutely stunning at, and then find out what you need to do with all the areas where you need room for improvement. And here's the thing, a lot of people need to change the words and the perspective of how they speak to themselves and to people around them. You see, perspective is massive. Your subconscious mind has got no sense of humor. So when you're looking at the subconscious mind, the things that people have said that you've taken into your life actually manifest in your physical reality, in your conscious actions and everyday behavior. And you don't even realize where it came from. And using affirmations and writing in that book, that is your private book, the thing that you can pull out every single day and say to yourself, I am loved and lovable. I am brilliant. I am safe and protected. I am loved and respected. I am the type of person who walks into a room and I speak eloquently. I stand strong and I stand to my truth. I speak my truth every single day and nobody can stop me. Watch the space world. And you watch suddenly the way that you speak affirmations into your life, then starts to manifest in your actual reality. And when you're looking at self-confidence, self-worth, your whole being opens up and the energy changes in that moment. And the simplicity is a small book. It's nothing fancier than a small book because it's your thoughts that are going onto that blank page. And when you find another separate page, nothing to do with your book, find another piece of paper and write down everything you hate, everything that's been pissing you off, everything you're angry about, everybody that did things to you, read it and then go and burn it. Let it go because it's not serving you. Burn it because the actual physical manifestation of fire removes emotionally within your subconscious mind that it's gone, it's in ashes, it cannot touch you. Those are words of the other people and they no longer belong to you. It belongs somewhere else in dust. Let it go. Build your self-worth in a massive way. I hope that explains.
Oh, that loved it. Beautiful. Thank you. Wonderful. Thank you.
It's wonderful, wonderful. Ian, Ron, you guys have anything to add or a question or anything?
Arthi, you impress me as being a very complementary mix of velvet and steel. You've described yourself as being a very determined person that if you come after my friend, I may beat you up, but in the next couple of seconds, you can love on that same person or somebody else. I'm curious, if I have accurately described you, how would you help the person who comes across as very uncompassionate, but yet they want to model themselves after you, that I am a mix of velvet and steel, but I'm very resolved in my values and I value you. But if you just abrogate one of my values, I'm going to come after you in a, let's just say, helpful way.
I like that. Helpful in a helpful way. Yes, I can helpfully. I will help you realign your thinking very fast. So I like that. Okay, I love that as a description because yes, I feel that as much as I'm talking about compassion and it is in it's in every way that I interact, but there are times I'm not feeling very compassionate. And what I realized is the difference between reaction and response. My reaction would be the non-compassionate side. The response would be the compassionate side, which means that I need to give myself a gap to actually understand where somebody else is coming from. And that is why I've got to always have a curious mind. And being curious and asking why allows me to then say, why would somebody do that? Why are they behaving that way? What caused them to do that? And while I'm asking the question, I do not judge them. Even if I did in my head, I will realign my thoughts and I'm harsh with myself. I'm I'm more harsh with myself personally, and Jan can confirm that. I will say I should, you know what, I'm feeling this way, and this is what I want to do, and that's not good and kind. And I'm very very strict with myself in saying I should not have behaved that way. I realign and apologize immediately, and I make amends because being forgiving is a massive key. Forgive myself first, and then not asking other people for forgiveness. I will ask for them to forgive how I treated them. Massive difference. That means I'm always responsible. So if somebody wants to stand strong to their values, but at the same time they want to be compassionate and they want to go after somebody, I will say go for it. Because you want to be going after injustice in a strong way, but it's the way you speak. So what is the intention? I do that and I intentionally change the dialogue of injustice, but I don't have to beat anybody up anymore. I hope that helps. And if somebody comes after you, I will come after them. I'll tell them sorry afterwards. And then I'll send them to Dr. Halida to repair.
Oh, that's very well said. You're very articulate. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm going to ask one question. I know that sometimes, people like us who run big projects and you are a big boss and all these things, no matter how compassionate attitude you express, you are the big boss. And you are always, okay, that's why you are. So people, either they are scared or they are intimidated, or no matter how sweet you can be, but they always feel a distance from you. I have faced that in my life. Even there are friends, but there are some not friends. So in those, that becomes a challenging situation for you because you want everybody to be listening to you, learning from you, being part of you, and all those kind of things. And you want that people like you as well. You do not want people disliking you so that they don't respect or they don't listen to you and say things. Those are difficult situations. And how would you handle that kind of situation? I know the compassion and all these are very beautiful words, very soft. And as Ron was saying, velvety words, but not that everything is velvet. There are the steels as well. So how would you deal those kind of situations? Thank you.
Well, thank you for that question. I think it's an excellent question because in our country, in South Africa, there is something called Mshlangano, and that is when a leader of a community actually sits with the entire community. The leader will ask a question, but will never make a decision until they've heard how other people feel. They listen to their solutions and they ask for advice. You see, when you're a leader and you want to be liked by everybody, that's the first challenge. As being a leader, it's not about being liked by everybody. It's about how well do you influence them that they like themselves. And when you are in that space, you look at where do they need growth, and where do they need skills, where do they need development, how are they finding life challenging for them, and why do they find that you're not approachable. You see, when you look at it from that point of view, then it's understanding where that person's self-esteem is, where their self-confidence is. Maybe they don't feel good enough. And it's worthwhile asking the question. And my specific question for that is, how do you feel about the situation? I'm looking at this graph and I'm not quite sure what to do. How do you feel about this? What are some of your suggestions? When you start to include people in general conversation in a respectful way, they may not know it. You just say, "Well, I'm just intrigued. I'm stumbling. I'm battling with this. How do you feel about that?" You see, because then you touch into the emotions of a person, and then they can speak. They can speak to you. Another one would be 3 questions I will say I teach people. What I like about you, what you can do for me, and what I can do for you. The first one, you praise and honor the person. What I like about you is that, you're an engaging person and I love your smile. You're always respectful. What you can do for me is, if you're battling in some area, I'd appreciate it if you could come to me and let me know in advance. And I'll be absolutely thrilled to help and guide and support you if you would like my assistance. What I can do for you is here's my number, here's my email. Anytime you want to chat, you want to have a coffee, if something is bothering you, please know that I'm here for you. And it's the simplicity of 3 things that allows you to engage, praise and honor. You're giving them feedback and guidance about what you want to change in your communication with them. And the last one is you're saying how you're going to support people. Because many times in organizations, you have bosses or people who are titled, who will ask, who will expect people to like them and approach them, but they don't understand. You're at that position where you're meant to influence them. And the only way you can do that is by understanding their story, not asking them to buy into yours. Massive difference. So it's the approach. And I think Jan, just in case Jan wanted to say something before our time's up, I hope I explained that enough to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No, that was very good. That was excellent. Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, for me, I mean, even that last process, that what I like about you, and I've seen Aarti doing this so many times in trainings when people come in the morning in the diversity and inclusion training. When people come in the morning as nothing short of enemies, a lot of the time with 11 different cultures and the stresses they have. But this is the last process of the day when they build onto this process all day. And this last process, we normally have a box of handkerchiefs standing on the table because people actually cry when they do this because there's such an impact on them. But what I wanted to say about compassion is yesterday actually I did we've got a value-based leadership process as well, and Artie actually wrote the value of compassion for this as well. So we went through this process with a group of people, and as an extra bonus, yesterday we did the value of compassion and we went through it. It was amazing how the impact it had, the way Artie had written it, the impact it had on the people in the group. And some of them became very emotional about it, actually, but more so than any other values like attitude, connection, listening, respect, hope, restraint, forgiveness. This just brought it all together. But also when it was my turn to talk, and I also have to say who is actually the person who really encompasses, who really lives that value. And for me, it was never a doubt, as you can imagine. I said Artie because I think we can all know now that there's no coincidence in Artie actually writing that value and Artie actually writing the book Compassionate Leaders of Influence, because the compassion, the passion, and the depth of knowledge he's got with people. That's why I think, when people have listened to this, they should like and share this. I mean, this is something like every other speaker who's been here before and who will come afterwards. You never know. Today might have been a chance you missed to change and impact your life. It might be next week with a panel discussion. It might be when Raj spoke a few weeks ago. And all these things are available on the platform. But what I want to say is, when this has an impact on you, don't be selfish. Be a leader and go out there and share this with other people. Like and share this and bring it to as many people, because as a leader, you help other people and you lift other people up. This might lift them more than you, but you never know. So, go out there and do that. But I mean, it's just another amazing talk. And I love every talk I listen to, because I learn every time. So if you're here now, make sure you come back next week. Make sure you catch up with the ones you haven't done yet and bring your friends, because it might just be the one you need to change your life.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, well, thank you all. We are almost at the end of our 75 minutes. So first of all, I wanted to thank all of you. If you guys have any last minute anything, please do so. But at the same time, I want to be careful with the time and everything that we have. Just last couple of things, or one quick thing that I had for Arti, because I think it's kind of important and kind of fun also, that I wanted to ask, okay, if you are an action, what is that action? What word of action would describe you properly?
An action.
Yes. You need to move on to next question then?
I know rebellious comes to mind all the time, so I'm trying to work out. Is that
Yeah, I was thinking maybe fighting or something would come. Wouldn't be. But anyway, what's the word that describes your home?
loving?
Loving. Well, what's the first advice you give to an entrepreneur or a person starting his or her journey in development of their career for the first time?
Be curious and understand that everything's unlimited with your ability to connect with people. There are many platforms to guide and support you, and that you never walk this journey alone. There's Coach Kamrul's platforms, there's Raj Kapoor, there's Ron here, there's yourself, there's Dr. Halida, there's YTP platform, there's all of our even key leadership. Everybody has got different expertise on entrepreneurship. So always ask questions, never be afraid to demand answers from people who are already in the business. And ask not just about their successes, ask about where people have failed, what they've done wrong, and what guidance they can give. And then look for mentors and coaches in every aspect of life, from your family, your relationships, and also your business, because holistically you should develop the entirety of who you are.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, talking about that, next week the panel is actually regarding some of the discussion is going to be mentoring and coaching all those. That's what I hear about from the panelists so far, but we'll get there. But other than that, anything asked? If not, we're gonna just close. Okay. So next week we'll see you on Saturday. Week after that, we have again a young generation, and in the month of October we have great speakers all the way from Ireland to Spokane, Seattle, and elsewhere. So very, very excited. But thank you again for listening live and sharing it with others. If you have any comments, anything, any questions, or anything you would like to see for all these people or others to be in this platform, please let us know in the comments or in the questions. Email us, put it in the comments in the Facebook or anywhere, and you know how to get in touch with us, and we'll try to get the best for you. Thank you again. We'll see you later.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That was great.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
জিলুর কি আছেন না জিলুর ছেড়ে দিছেন? Okay, he has left.